Welcome to week 3. I wanted to just pop in and give you a very quick overview. This is the only video from me and really the only content in the slides for this week. But things are a little bit different this week, so I wanted to just pop in and give you a quick overview. I've given you a whole bunch of IEP resources and directions in this week's module. I'm going to go over those in this video, but if you ever have any questions or are struggling with the format or where to find resources, please email me right away. I'd be happy to set up a Zoom or even a phone call where we both can see our screens so that I can go through these with you. Please don't struggle with where or how to access the information. I'd rather you spend your time with the content. So first of all, the bulk of your work this week are with 2 Michigan Department of Education Michigan Virtual IEP Bootcamp modules. You'll do modules 1 and 2 this week. You'll need to create a free account in Michigan Virtual, and I've provided explicit directions about doing that, completing the assignment, and uploading your certificate of completion for that in your Blackboard folder. And modules 1 and 2 are due at the end of the week. Hang on to that account information and those completion certificates, because if you're not already in 306 and 332, EDS 306 and EDS 332 as part of your apprenticeship, you'll need these modules again. We do modules 1 through 4 in this course, and you complete more of those modules during your apprenticeship to develop your understandings about IEPs more. For right now, modules 1 and 2 are due this week, and that's where you'll spend the bulk of your time. These are some really high quality learning modules developed by the state of Michigan that they use in schools and for special education and general education teachers as they're working through and learning about IEPs themselves. The second piece is the IEP overview assignment. If you get into that folder, I've provided you with a chart. It's a forced copy of a Google Doc. And what I'm asking you to do is look at a real IEP. You're going to fill in what you know about an IEP based on the module work that you do this week and over the next few weeks, and also from our reading assignment, chapter 6 in our law book this week. Fill in what you know and use a sample IEP to provide some evidence for what you know. I've done the first row for you. I've done the first as an example. Once you get into that chart, that's a forced copy Google Doc. And I'd like you to then go through an IEP. If you have a placement IEP, for example, if you're in your apprenticeship now and you're working with a placement IEP of a student that's in your placement program, I highly advise that you use that IEP because you'll be able to use it for other assignments in 306 and 332. If you're not in your apprenticeship and you are working with a student with an IEP, I would absolutely recommend that you dive into that also. If you have no access to a student's IEP, you may absolutely use the sample IEP that I've provided in that folder. The idea is to get your hands on a real IEP and go through it and be able to recognize the pieces, the parts, and through our work on the modules and in our reading this week, you'll understand why those pieces and parts are there and what they mean. This is due later in the term. Check our course schedule and the slides for more information. But this is done purposefully. You have several weeks to complete this assignment because I want you to complete and engage with all of our IEP instruction and resources over the next few weeks. Have a real holistic view of not only the policies and procedures behind an IEP, but also the more subjective parts and the individual parts for individualized student learning. Check out the due date for that later in this term. But as an overview, you have 2 IEP bootcamp modules due this week on Sunday, no later than 11:59 p.m., and your IEP overview assignment, which is due later in the term. Have a great week. Again, contact me if you have any questions about any of the resources for this week.